He left the Minnesota Senate in December of 2009 to head up RacinoNOW. Dick Day is here now to talk about his endeavors. Senator, thanks for joining us today.
Good to be with you.
First of all, at the beginning of each legislative session since you took over RacinoNOW again in '09, you were more than optimistic that Racino would be a part of the budget solution. Even then, it still isn't. What needs to be done, in your opinion, to make it a part of the solution?
We need 4 leaders and 1 governor. They're relatively favorable. For the first time, I'm more optimistic than I've ever been. We're at maybe 60–70%, I think, if we can get this in the final budget. Now, that's the critical thing, is getting the leaders together to get this final budget together. But we're actually somebody in the room with our hand up saying, hey, we can give you $250 million every 2 years. The state's got this huge budget deficit. If they don't use our money, it's going to be a wonder. I mean, I will be stymied when I talk to them to say, why wouldn't you want to use $250 million, no taxes, voluntarily people give it to you. And
explain to me a little bit more about how it was at the beginning of the session compared to how it is now, given that it's in this critical juncture.
Well, one of the major problems that we've had is we got a lot of new legislators. So it was kind of like starting all over with the majority of the senators actually in the Minnesota State Senate. And so we had a good cadre of Democrats and Republicans. The senior Republicans were for us. The newer Republicans, because the Republican Party is anti-gaming, which is totally ridiculous. 90% of the people in Minnesota go gaming. So, I mean, if they want to go back to the late 40s, Luther Youngdahl, fine, have at it. But you know what? Most Republicans that I talk to are they just bypass that. And we have, of course, our good friend Phil Krinke, the Taxpayers League. So I don't want to take too many shots at people, but they're out there saying, oh, well, you can't have any gambling. Why? It's people's choices. We have 18 casinos now. We have this $1.5 billion net profit industry, and we're the only state doesn't receive any money from our 18 casinos. So we're telling people it's about time to do this. We've been kicking this can down the road for a few years. Now we need money. We hope we're the one in the room that when people are putting this together, and we don't have the solution to the budget, but we do have probably maybe 20% of the solution. So we're hoping they use us, and we'll have 2 racinos.
You are very optimistic, as you have said. Senator, let's be realistic here for a moment. If it isn't a part of this budget agreement, this global agreement, what do you think the chances are down the road?
Major problems, because the only other option after that would be to come back to the next session and try and convince the same legislators that, will you put it on the ballot? And put it on the ballot and let the people decide. If we ever get it on a ballot, we range from 70 to 80% on every poll. So 75% of the people, 3 out of every 4 people in Minnesota will say, hey, this is a no-brainer. Take the money and let's get on with it. So this is the year. This is the year. We need the money. We have the money. We'll see how it goes.
I want to shift gears for a moment. As I said earlier, you were a part of the Senate for 19 years, and you led the Senate minority from '97 to 2006. You were a part of that '05 shutdown. Yeah. Explain what it was like for you as a minority leader during that partial shutdown.
First off, and a lot of people that are new here might not understand this, but we never had a shutdown for 150 years. And in 2005, even though it was minor compared to what this year will be, because we had put together quite a few of the different bills. And the other thing was, in the room, we had some people that had been in government for quite a while, and we now have 4 new leaders. And don't get me wrong, I think they're wonderful people. I think the governor is doing a good job as a governor. So I think the 5 people that are trying to do it this year, but there was a lot of experienced people, and Governor Plenty was really good at trying to put the deals together. So I think there's a little of that lacking this year, but this is going to be devastating if this happens. There's so many people in the state of Minnesota that are having tough times now. You dump all these other people on the unemployment rolls, and you have all of these things, whether it's coming into Minnesota to go up north on vacation, or if you're here already, and all the different things that happen. No, it will really be bad, and it'll be much worse than it was in 2005, because we had maybe 60–70% of all the bills, the appropriation bills, already in play before we actually had the government shutdown. So there's hope. We know we have we might have this special master type person for essential services, and that could be appointed, and that would help because that might keep us going. Or let's hope they get their act together and we don't have a shutdown.
All right, Senator Day, we appreciate your time today. Thanks for coming in.
Good to be with you always.